Hong Kong, so there's me deciding to come to the United States.
On the eve of the application deadline, I got this crazy idea to study abroad.
Just kind of be mentally prepped for what you might encounter and what you even still might not expect.
As a peer advisor in the Study Abroad office, I work with international students coming in and domestic students going abroad.
Today I'll be talking about my experience here as an international student on MSU's campus, and also I've had a chance to study abroad, so I'll be touching on that as well.
And I will be kind of talking a little bit today about my life with cystic fibrosis. I don't really live my life with a negative attitude with living with CF. So why not travel the world? And why not see what else is out there? And as the slide even states, and as my Beagle has kind of stated, I really think that I have a kind of a different perspective on life. I really strive to make every day count and make every day worth it.
All my family is back home, so I was the first person in my family to come to the United States. So that was a bit scary and overwhelming. And also one thing I've managed to do is I've taken a friend home with me, and she had never been outside the United States, so I got to take someone for a study abroad experience.
Coming to MSU, I knew that there was a plethora of study abroad programs, and I figured, okay, out of 300 programs, I think I can find one that fits for me.
I'm going to share my personal experience of being a college student and an international student at MSU, so hopefully some part of my story will be relevant to you. I really didn't know much about MSU before coming. I came in my freshman year. I came in 2011, and now I'm a senior in psychology.
We looked at the evolution and the adaptive radiations within the Albertine Rift, which Uganda is located in. The most important thing that we learned was how to do field research, and we learned different skill sets, including working hands-on with birds and setting up mist nets.
Study abroad for me was just such a powerful, powerful testament to what you can do as a person. I was able to overcome my CF and kind of give it the finger and say, I'm going.
A lot of things sometimes got lost in translation because of language barriers and miscommunication.
It was crazy for me to see that in just 2 weeks, I went from barely being able to interact with a group of people in England to being able to carry on a conversation with employees whose primary language was German.
It was really great actually living in the community rather than traveling as a volunteer and being viewed as what they call the Mzungu. We were Mzungus, which means white foreigner.
It wasn't as awkward as you might think. It was a mutual understanding that we were both putting in the effort to work around the language barrier.
We had 12 people from the very far corners of MSU's academic landscape. I learned things I didn't even know I was learning at the time. What was coded as SSC, ESA, ISS were really these transformative lessons of interdisciplinary learning.
It helped me to break a lot of stereotypes of Americans, of different people I came into contact with, and I think I also helped to break a lot of African stereotypes.
This is a quote that I find to be very, very symbolic and very interesting. And it's not the mountain we conquer, but ourselves. And really it is a true testament to what you can accomplish as a person and the goals that you can achieve if you set them for yourself.
I'll share something that I wrote in my journal. Looking through a sea of people, I could not stop but wonder if ever I'll be able to find where I fit and fulfill my desire to belong. I guess I just wasn't expecting or prepared to have to be in an environment with so many international students in an American college.
I would like to liken my story here at MSU like the life of a butterfly. So I believe I've gone through the 4 stages, which are the egg, larva, and pupa, and adult stage.
So our place of work and where we found home was the Magosi Orphanage Home in kind of the outskirts of Kisumu.
Getting a gust of fresh air out of the window on a crowded bus.
Waking up early to see the sunrise over the desert. Laughing with the man who shaved our heads.
Climbing a mountain to have lunch with the villagers. Dancing around a fire to celebrate the harvest.
Living in Kenya, we expected that there would be challenges. We knew that we wouldn't have access to some basic resources that we have in the US, such as running water, clean water, reliable transportation, and trash disposal.
At first, we all thought India lacked order. It was all chaos. After some time, however, we realized that priorities were just in a different place. A quick conversation with a neighbor holds much more importance than the first few minutes of a meeting.
So at the end of my second year, I decided to break this loop of being miserable and sad, and I wanted to give myself at MSU a chance.
Not only going on studying abroad and having a good time, which obviously everyone knows it's going to be great and you're going to have a once-in-a-lifetime experience, but also making your return home a once-in-a-lifetime experience and building on that and not really giving up.
I think this year I feel I'm in the stage where I know who I am and I'm ready for the working world, and hopefully I'll be ready to spread my butterfly wings and fly.
My own professional development is, well, when I was in Uganda, I have taken entomology classes beforehand, and when I was there, in between researching, I would run around and be like, oh, look at these bugs, it's so cool, and I kind of collected a lot of them and showed them to people. So when I came home, I was like, oh, maybe I should look into entomology a little bit. So I actually found an internship, and for the past summer, I was the head entomologist and curator at the original Mackinac Island Butterfly House and Insect World.
A lot of my experiences in Uganda and understanding of the ecology and natural ecosystems within that area has really impacted not only my knowledge on my subject of doctoral research, but also my ability to discuss it.
Coming to America actually adds another dimension to my experience of how I see myself as a Hong Kong person. How you affiliate yourself with ideas, how you think about your own culture, how you think about other cultures and other countries. It's not that distant and it's not that demarcated as you might thought. There's just a lot of gray area, and hey, gray area is pretty awesome.
We didn't wake up one day on our journeys and say, aha, I fully understand what's going on in this country and in my own country.
These realizations were gradual and complex and are still somewhat amorphous.
Since I've been back at MSU, I've been able to take the skills I learned this past summer and apply them at career fairs and other networking events.
That brings me back to East Lansing. And it's cliche to say, India changed everything. So I'll just say the growth that I experienced in India has kind of been the framework for everything else I've done since.
There are some things that you just don't realize until you experience them from another perspective. All of us were pushed out of our comfort zone when we went to a place where things are taken for granted, such as water, internet, and electricity, that were unreliable.
I think the hardest thing for me was that since I learned and changed so much over there, coming back and realizing that everyone else didn't have that experience and didn't change with me, that was really hard.
This is the end of my presentation, but it's just the beginning of more questions. When you interact with people, a different framework of approaching people, and also a different framework of asking questions and digging more into this journey of learning about each other and cultures.
I am just really honored to have this opportunity to just tell my story, and just want to encourage others to just step outside and to really embrace the world that they were afraid to step in.
The most important thing I can do is study abroad. Not knowing what my next step is when I get out of here in May, is that I can introduce myself with an interdisciplinary skill set in my back pocket, and I think that being able to say that I'm a critical thinker, I'm holistic, I'm confident, and well-rounded is really the best benefit of my study abroad experience.